Good evening. I hope you're having a wonderful night. I love you, New York. So, tonight I had the lovely opportunity to be part of Greater Harlem Unite virtual forum to discuss with other mayoral candidates some questions. One of the topics that came up that I'd like to actually expand upon is defund the police. It is a very sensitive topic. It is a very, very tough conversation. But here's what I have to say and what I had to say on the forum. I supported defunding the police. But I want to be very clear. I don't believe that we should have crime. Hear me out. Just hear me out. There's this binary of fund the police, defund the police. Abolish the police, keep the police. Reform the police, don't reform the police. How about C? Change the entire system. Now, how would one change the entire system, and what would the entire system changing look like? Good question. Well, I'll tell you what it would look like, and then I'll tell you how. So first off, what it would look like is, imagine that instead of having just 60 credits and a certain of age, and take specific psychology tests, you would have to have more education in order to get into the NYPD. Now, this doesn't just go for the NYPD, this goes for all city civil servant workers, whether it is FDNY, the Sanitation, Department of Transportation, all of the departments. I think that everyone would serve well to have a free college education. We have a resource here in New York City, the second largest university in the country. That's called CUNY, City University of New York. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if we were to create a 4-year undergraduate program, consider it like a civil servant degree? Whatever the name is, it's irrelevant. But what's important is the core of what you would learn. What one would learn: communication, empathy training, sociology, psychology, history, global history, U.S. history, New York State history, New York City history, history of the different city departments, specifically. Wouldn't that be amazing? Why was the sanitation department created and how? Same thing with the fire department and the police department. Understanding the origins and the roots is very key. It's how we adapt and we evolve, is understanding that different times call for different strategies. So, instead of having just 60 credits of college education in order to get in there, we create a 4-year undergraduate program. Now let's make it free. I'm sure we could find ways to fund that, whether it's through traditional governmental funding through the Fed, the state, or taxpayer dollars, or maybe we can consider blockchain, or maybe we consider a city coin. Maybe we can consider different partnerships and brand partnerships and activations here in New York City to do that with some of the most amazing local upstarts and startups here in New York City that have made it great and successful. What if there was a little giving back in a separate fund that wasn't a tax, but something that could work to pay for this? People say, oh, what else do we have to consider? Well, if I were to design a system like that, I would be taking into consideration the health and the well-being of these employees of the city, these wonderful people that do such great jobs for us. And I would say, you know what? You guys should not have to work more than 40-hour work weeks. But you should also get paid real well. Because you are the backbone of this city. You keep the city systems working and operating. You keep people safe, whether you're fire, police department, etc. You keep us safe. So that means we should be significantly raising the rate so that this way you don't have to put in crazy long hours and overwork yourself and get yourself stressed out and triggered, because your well-being matters to me, and it should matter to all New Yorkers. Again, it always comes back to me for this. If we want other people to treat us better, we need to take care of ourselves. And if we take care of ourselves, we'll be kinder and nicer to other people. Just a simple motto that I've had as I've grown through life. So, we need to also continue that education because new things always show up. It means continued education needs to be applied. And how can we expect someone to go for 24 weeks to become NYPD officers? I would consider that, hey, maybe we should turn that into a graduate program and maybe make it a full year. Maybe make it 2 years. Maybe not so rushed to get people out on the streets because we need more cops. Maybe we need better cops that are trained and prepared for today's problems and solve them with real applicable solutions. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like a condescending butthead because I'm rogue all the time, because that's not my position. I'm just saying, is anyone ever talking about just simple solutions that work? I mean, it's 2021. We're past the 1/5 into the 21st century. And there's this constant fight about evolving and making things better. So I leave you with that for a moment. And I just wanted to say, things don't have to be so binary. Now, by the way, coming back to something, how do we do this? Well, you would have to defund, and you would potentially have to fire a lot of people and rehire a lot of people and put them into different systems and different departments. Because here's an interesting statistic that I heard. 80-something%, somewhere between 70 and 80% of the responses that police have to go attend to tend to be domestic abuse problems. Now I think about what happened this past December with our incumbent Mayor de Blasio, and they finally put together a task force to respond to mental health problems and emergencies, where they were able to take pieces of different departments and put them together. Social workers, EMTs, police, and some other people put that together, and they respond. Why did it take this long to create these solutions? It all boils down to one basic thing for me, my lovely New Yorkers. We cared so much about the federal election. This year decides the fate of New York City. I hope that more than 15% shows up to vote this year. That will change things. And who you pick, I really hope you ask for some real solid solutions. If you ever want to talk to me and ask me some specific questions, direct message me. We'll set up a Zoom call. Or we'll get on the phone. I will respond. We will talk. I want to hear from you. Because I care about New York City. I care about the 300 plus neighborhoods. I believe that uniting us against complacency, corruption, I think that's the key. In order for us to understand the problems that we're facing and will face in the future, we need to have better communication skills amongst us as a community and with leadership and decision makers. People need to be able to solve problems. So, with that, I leave you, and I'll be back with some more. Have a good night.